Hey you guys, I'm really excited about this video. It's an interview between one of my very good friends, Johanna. If you went to Metz, you know her as Miss Rubio. And this is just an account of how there's no wrong way to go to college and how to go to college full time and work full time and everything in between. We get really honest. We talk about racist teachers and all of that and how to survive. So I hope this interview gives you some insight on a first generation college student, and how she's made a really beautiful life for herself. I hope you guys enjoy. Keep
I
going,
love
keep
it
going.
though. I love it though. I love it. My supervisor is super cool. Like, okay.
All right, hi you guys. I am here with Johanna. You know her. Some of my Mets people know her as Miss Rubio, and we are going to be talking about how there's no wrong way to get a bachelor's, because Johanna has had like a very circuitous path to get her
Right.
bachelor's degree, and now she's working on her master's degree, and she's worked full time the whole time she's done all these degrees. And I think that her story really is going to be a lot of y'all's stories as well, because it's just sort of the future and how everything's going. So I thought you guys would benefit from hearing from her and what her experience getting an education has been like. So with that, Johanna, why don't you start out like with where you were born, where you spent early childhood, and then the process of coming to the U.S.
Okay. So, hi, you guys. For the students that know me, I miss you all, and the ones that don't know me, I'm sure you guys are incredible as well.
There.
Uh, well, I wasn't born here. I was born in El Salvador. I grew up there till the age of 9. Was raised by my grandparents, and eventually came to this country at the age of 9 again with my parents, with my mother and my stepfather, with another language, right? Spanish is my first language, English is my second language. And that was a challenge itself, right? I had to learn another language. I had to find new friends. Maybe some of you are going to have to move from state to state, which to me is the same struggle, right? You're moving from state to state, and it's like you finding new friends, or just from town to town, to be honest with you. It's just difficult. Like building again friendships is crazy, right?
Yeah.
So that was a struggle for me. I had my best friends that I left back in my country, and my grandparents, which were like my parents, and adjusting to the school system in West New York, which is where I went to. West New York, it's at that time was a very
and we're in New Jersey, just to clarify, right? West New York, New Jersey, which is a crazy name. Anyway, continue.
Right. So West New York is in Jersey, and some of you might be familiar with it. The Jersey City people, Union City, North Bergen, West New York. At that time, it wasn't. Now it's a little changed, right? It's expensive to live there. It's in front of the city. The view is beautiful. But back then, it was not that beautiful. And the school system was, it wasn't that great.
Compare it to what I think is really interesting is the way that you compared your elementary school in Ecuador versus your elementary school, or like coming, and what education, how it changed when you came here.
Yeah, the education in El Salvador was like so much better than here, but I was in a private school, right? So not everyone gets to have that education. So my school was a private school, and where they incorporated English into the curriculum. So I had a little bit of English when I came here. Professors were very advanced. They were super strict. It was completely different than when I got here. When I got here, my brother was even put in 2 grades higher than what he was supposed to, because the level he was in was way too high. And for me, it was super easy. It was just like, these people are doing this now. Like, it was just like very different education. Yeah. It was more of like, here, learn this and get out. Learn, like, here, right? Over there was like, you learn or you're stuck in the class. Like, that's just what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So throughout my whole life, it was just like, boring a little bit, or if I didn't understand something, it wasn't like someone took the time to educate me or explain me, right? Like explain it to me.
Right.
So got it. It was like, listen, this is free education, so get on it, or we're gonna move you either or. So it was just like, some teachers were white, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, they were very cruel with us. Majority was Latinos and black, and majority was Latinos, but some black, and they were not nice, right? So not patient. I did have one teacher that she was Caucasian, and she was amazing. I can't even say. I still remember she was one of my English teacher, but I had her for one grade, and then I went to high school, so it wasn't so much of a big help.
Right.
But throughout my whole years, it was like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my Spanish, my Latino teachers were amazing. I still remember them. I loved them. And I had like a black teacher she was amazing as well. So I know that a lot of you guys are going through that, right? And it's going to happen. It's just system. That's a system.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of teachers are there to get paid, get vacation time, and leave. It's just unfortunately, but it is what it is. That's how it was, right?
Yeah. Do you think that having teachers who were like mean and didn't really get where you were coming from and were like often ignorant and white, do you think that affected how seriously you took your education?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to get out.
Mm-hmm.
As there was at some point that I just wanted to get out. Like,
right.
give me my degree and I want to leave. Like, give me my diploma and I want to leave. And that's one of the reasons why I finally was led first to teach, right? So I started like with school system since I was 19 years old. And but then I was like, I need to help these kids. So now I'm doing my master's in social work.
Before we get to that, but it is important that you had such a bad experience in education that it led you to want to help students or help families through this insane experience. But let's go back to high school, Johanna. What was she like? Was she popular? Was she a nerd? Like, what's she thinking? Like high school Johanna senior year. How you feeling about colleges? What's your game plan?
It was very strange because I was a quiet girl with popular friends and a popular boyfriend. So it was like I was quiet because I'm still introverted, but a little bit extroverted as well. But high school was junior year, senior year was amazing. Like I loved it. But still I didn't get people at the same time. I don't know if that like, it's like, why are your people so weird? But then, like I had friends that were into those, like into like happy life. Right. So, and my boyfriend was a football player. He was my high school sweetheart. So I was forced to be in football games and things like that. However, you know what it is that, and behind all that life that I was portraying in high school or whatever it may be, also my parents were very strict. So there were certain things I couldn't do what my friends could do. So, like it's a little different that your friends are also the same, quiet, and then they don't do anything. But then these friends of mine did everything, but I wasn't allowed to even go out the stairs.
Do you think that was the right move on your parents' part to be super protective and strict with you?
I think there's a balance, like now that I'm an adult, it's like, I think there's a balance. Let me experience, and also have a little bit of, rules in the house. Like I believe in rules, right? Yeah. But I think there's a balance, and also like I had values growing up, so like I think they should have trusted me, right? Because we are who our parents make us to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you can't trust your kids, it's because you probably did such a great job, right? But but you know what it is with teachers not like you, teachers not like me that want to help these kids. So behind it, I was struggling because my grandparents passed away.
And this is high school, right?
This is beginning of high school, ending of 8th grade.
Right.
So my grandparents passed away, and just like any other kids I had in Metz high school, right? Like people have struggles at home and they want to find teachers that they can speak to. And I had no one I can speak to, like, hey, I'm not happy right now. Like, I'm not, like, or I can't even do this test right now. I can't think, like, um, it wasn't that type of relationship because teachers were there to like get there, do what they have to do, and leave. So my freshman year was a little bit like trying to adjust and trying to get my head together and trying to like struggling with home stuff and struggling with school stuff. Freshman year and change of environment, it was a lot for me.
Yeah.
Not being able to have a boyfriend still, and so like I had like not being able to even go to the movies, which I'm fine with the boyfriend thing, but I couldn't do movies. I couldn't do anything, right?
What were we supposed to do?
I know, I kind of like sometimes I was not that good, which I don't recommend that to you kids. You guys have to be good, but sometimes like I would sneak out, like I was like,
well, these kids are like almost they're seniors, so the jig's almost up.
Okay, so like at senior year, I was already like doing things with my boyfriend, right? And I did volleyball, and so at volleyball games, sometimes I wouldn't have practice, so I would just go to the movies with my boyfriend or chill, like why not? And but I had no one to tell me what to study, what to do, where to go to, what is college like, but my brother. My brother was also struggling himself. My mom didn't know much of this, so my brother went to college as well, and but he's trying to help me at the same time, but then he's struggling at the same time.
And where was your brother in college?
What college did he go to?
Or where was he at the time that you were in high school?
I was a freshman when he was a senior. So I was like a junior, senior when he was a freshman in college.
Okay. And where did he go to school?
Montclair University.
Okay. Did he like Montclair? I have several students applying to Montclair.
He loves it, and I loved it. So if you guys love Montclair, if you guys want to, it's a school I recommend more than Rutgers, actually. I loved it. I loved Montclair. And I heard the education is amazing. Like, I will go visit my brother a lot, and I saw the campus. The campus is beautiful. And I did do one. It was like a little trip we did and with the high school my senior year, and I loved it. I recommend it.
Okay.
My brother was working there too, and he loves it there as a job as well.
Awesome. So where did you didn't go to Montclair, right?
No, I went to Jersey City University.
Okay, Jersey City University. And how did you remember applying? What was that at FAFSA? Do you remember anything of this, or is it all? Kids, you're gonna all block it out. You won't remember the horror of it.
Well, to be honest with you, my first 2 years were in a community college,
right? Because
I wasn't sure into what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be an interior designer to begin with.
Same.
And my mom was like, "What is that? Like, that's not a career back in the day."
Same.
Right? Like,
that's what my parents said too.
I was like, all right, like I'll do education. So I did my community college in education.
Okay. And did you like community college? Like, I think nothing but good things about community college, especially if your grades aren't that great in high school, or your senior year of high school shit comes up and you don't have time to apply and do all of that. I think community college, I have a lot of friends who teach at community college. I think they're very good teachers, but do you feel like community college was like a bridge between high school and regular college, or like are you glad you went, I guess, rather than all the way to a traditional 4-year?
I recommend community college for the ones that do not know what to do or didn't apply on time and now they're rushing it.
Right.
I didn't know what to do, right? And honestly, it was basically my brother that was like, "You're going to college. Like, I don't know what you're doing," but because I did not know. Like, I wanted to be a diplomat. I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to be
are perfectly acceptable and all require a college degree.
To me, it was like, this country cannot to my level. But like, like in my head, I just didn't know what to do. So I ended up going to community college because then I can figure it out there while I'm doing the basic classes. Because you do basic classes.
Isn't it true that when you transferred into, the College of New Jersey, what was the official title? I always get confused.
Jersey City University?
Jersey City University. When you went to Jersey City University, or when you transferred in from community college, didn't they just look at your community college grades, not your high school transcript?
That's it. That's it. You basically transfer everything in your community college, and then you start third year of college.
Like life hack, you guys.
And FAFSA pays everything for you, right? Like if you have a low income between, and sometimes parents are not married, which in a way it's good because they see one income. If they have two incomes and it's higher, I believe, then I think it's 53,000.
So if your parents make less than 53,000 combined,
I believe.
Yeah, or is this what it was at the time? So how much did you pay at community college?
I didn't pay anything.
This is why kids have been like, fill out your FAFSA. So you didn't pay anything for your associate's degree. What about when you transferred into Jersey City University?
Same thing. Financial aid pays everything, and you get money back. So you get money back for your books. But if you're smart and you buy your books in Amazon, if you buy your books used, because
and then resell them, kids.
I resell them all because I'm not using them.
Same. Yeah.
So it's just a matter of being smart while you're in college, right? So you go to community college, you get money. Do not shop for clothes.
It's very tempting, and I have to confess that when I took out student loans in graduate school, I did use them on living expenses because I was so poor. But now I've got that debt sitting there, and it's already accumulated $10,000 in interest.
Same here.
And our generation, we kind of got screwed because nobody told us about student loans, and we didn't really understand.
Yeah, but here we are. Telling you guys.
I mean, we're still kicking.
Yeah, but then if somebody could have told me like stop, because you get financial aid, right? And then they give you like $3,000 back free financial aid, not loans, but financial aid. You don't have to pay this back. To me, it was exciting.
Yeah.
And instead of like using it, well, I was smart. I bought my first car with that money.
That's a good investment. You got to drive to class.
And who was gonna? I needed to figure out a way of doing things. I was working my first, I had like 3 jobs in college. But still, like I wanted a nice car. I'm sure all of you want a nice car. So I saved my financial aid money, and I bought myself a car. And I also bought clothes, which but save, guys, like save your money. Shop for what you need to shop.
Don't do like what we did. Do what we say.
Yes, because experience teaches us. But let's be honest. I mean, if you guys, I used to tell my med students, I understand you guys are going to want to buy certain things. Go for it. But make sure you're smart, you save money, and you buy necessity, like things that you really need, right? So yeah, I did community college. I loved it. I was like, wow, like I actually do like college.
So you liked learning again once you got into college?
Yeah.
What was the difference between like your high school classes and your community college classes the first year or the first 2 years while you're working on your associates?
Independence. In high school, you need to come at a certain time. Why are you not here? You have detention. We're calling your parents. And college is like, if you're not there and your GPA drops, you get kicked out of college. And then it's really difficult to get into any. If you get kicked out of a community college, you're just not getting anywhere.
It's so true. It's so true. You do not want to get kicked out of any college. Yeah. But, and so actually, and I think this is something that luckily, this is a silver lining of kids in distance learning now, is they're already getting a little bit of taste of how to manage their own time and how to complete assignments sort of in an more unstructured way. What was the hardest thing for you about managing your time when you got to college?
Homework, like timelines and papers, right? Which is something that we're doing now with this whole coronavirus virtual stuff, that you have a deadline in an assignment versus back in the days in high school. It was like, you did have deadlines, but you saw the teacher to remind you every single day, like, hey guys, tomorrow is the deadline. Do your work. Do your work. Oh, you didn't do it? Okay, I'll give you till tomorrow. College is like, you don't have it, you get a 0. Like, there's no, I'll do it till tomorrow unless you have a note that you were dying.
Yes.
Or they passed away, right?
And one life hack, I will say, sorry to interrupt you, but just while we're on the topic of college and missing assignments and all of that, if you are not going to turn something in on time, you need to email your class instructor and tell them that. even if it's ahead of time, just be like, can I have 24 more hours to work on it? And 8 times out of 10, they'll give it to you. But if you don't communicate with them and you just don't turn something in, they're going to think you don't care about school or their class. And so they're not going to go out of their way to help you. You know what I mean? So it's like, you gotta know your audience. You gotta send the right message to your instructor so that they sort of, help you out as well. Sorry, continue, Johanna.
You basically, like you said, like care. Like you have to care in college. Like now, this is money going towards you, whatever career you're going to get paid for. Like this is something you're gonna get paid for. It's not high school that everyone gets to go to high school. This is something you chose to go to, and now you're going to eventually get paid for this. So take advantage of it, use it, love it, enjoy it while you're at it. Like either it's not, I'm not going to say like now I'm enjoying my master's. I love my master's program, right? But I wasn't like a school person my whole life. Undergrad, where I was doing psychology and education, I was like, I like it, but it's still not exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Were you able to take any fun classes in college?
I did. I took art and I took designing, and I enjoyed it because it's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I love designing.
I would have been a millionaire right now.
You and me both. We just got to start our interior design firm.
Yeah, I don't think we have to go to school, but we could do it. I think we could do it. So, I don't know, like, and I have to say this real quick. I'm not gonna say names. But I have a friend. She got kicked out of Rutgers because it was too much. Because Rutgers is a partying school.
It is. I mean, I taught at Rutgers. Those hungover freshmen. Oh my God, there's nothing worse than teaching to hungover freshmen. It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, especially because she wasn't enjoying her career. So,
right.
And love make sure you're going to love what you do. Because even if you're struggling because right now, my master's, for example, even though I struggle sometimes, I put effort because I love it. If you love something, even if it's hard, you're going to put effort into it, Right. Like a doctor. If you want to be a doctor, and it's going to be hard, but if you love it, you're going to do it, And I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. I have friends that have any career you could think of. My friends have it, and we all went to the same high school. So it's like I'm so grateful to have smart friends around me.
That's really nice, right?
Yeah, but we all did. Well, some of them didn't. Some of them are not here with us, but other of them moved to LA. They're in business, so they open their own business. It's pretty amazing to see that. I don't think where you grow up is an excuse not to be successful in life. Regardless of what route you choose.
Yeah, I think that's really solid advice. I also think that, but I think like not to counter it, but just sort of add a caveat to it. I think that when you grow up and have to go to a shitty school and you don't have like the resources of SAT tutoring and all that, you've got to work twice as hard. And it's not fair. Like you guys, like you can't afford to fuck around in the way that rich kids in college can because their daddy can pay for a lawyer to get them out. It's not fair, but that doesn't mean it's not doable. And that doesn't mean it's not worth it. Would you say that's accurate, Johanna?
Completely accurate. And me in particular, I would say that's life, right? Because I went through it.
Yeah.
Like maybe, and that's how I say I understand you guys, right? Because I went through it. And I'm sure other people are going to be like, yeah, it's going to be a struggle. And they're going to feel sorry for you. But I can't feel sorry for you guys because I went through it. And it's just life. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite saying to me. It is what it is.
It is.
You can either choose to make the best out of your issues, or you can choose to be the victim and just stick there and not be successful in life.
Yeah. And
my life took me where I am now.
Exactly. And it's about like, it's about being like, okay, so I have these hurdles that I need to overcome, but I really want to be X. And in order to get there, I got to meet those hurdles, which is why like having goals helps you get through like the drudgery of the homework and the rolling in classes and the surviving high school. Because once you get out, like it's your life. And with a bachelor's degree, you can go really far, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then honestly, like I think school is just like do it. Don't
Yeah.
procrastinate. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like, if you have something due next week, start doing it. Like, do one page today, another page tomorrow, and then you will be done by that time the paper is due, right?
Yeah.
Laziness. Like, I feel like I was so lazy sometimes. And but I have to tell you, in my high school, it was boring to me sometimes because it was like easy for me.
Right. And then when it's easy, you don't try. So you're not engaged. It's not interesting.
Right. And so like it was easy for me, and I did it because of volleyball, and I basically like did good in school because of my parents, because they were super strict, but also because, you know, like I like sports, and it was just like easy. Like, it was high school has nothing to do, and you know, like we can compare it to Mets because it's like the high school where we were working at, and it's not. We can both agree that it's easy. Like, the work is very easy. And sometimes you get away with so many things.
You do. And it's like in college, maybe once you get to college or on your own, you have to hold yourself to high standards.
Exactly.
You have to hold yourself up for excellence, and you will meet it. You just have to keep chipping away at it, right?
If you want a paycheck, yes.
Yeah, if you want a paycheck, if you want a bigger paycheck, if you want to do something specific, it all takes, it just takes endurance. It's like those people who run marathons, those crazy people, like they can run for 23 miles in a row. I don't even know if I could do a mile at this point, but no joke. But like, my fitness aside, that just sort of goes to show, it's like your brain is a muscle, just like your leg muscles, just like your hip muscles. So like, the more that you study, the more that you figure things out, the easier it becomes, so that when you get to something that's harder, or a harder level class, or even if you decide to go to grad school like Johanna and I did, you're ready for it. And it's sort of, you know, it happens incrementally. So to get overwhelmed at the very beginning, it's sort of, you're shooting yourself in the foot, just one foot in front of the other. And slowly but surely, it's amazing what your brain is capable of, as you guys all heard me say over and over in class.
That was a great analogy. It definitely is like it's like a muscle. And again, because I was lazy sometimes, is that I failed in doing so great in college. It wasn't that you guys are not capable or dumb. I feel like we all learn differently, right? And it's just the way that, unfortunately, the way that we're trained in high school, because I feel like, just like you said, right, it's like a marathon, and our brain is a muscle. And unfortunately, us low income humans did not get trained for this marathon we're about to run in college, and then about to run after graduating. So it's like we've been laying down this whole time, and then now we have to compete. So it's like so hard, right? So now you just have to get up and start training yourself. It is what it is. Like I said, right? You have to start training yourself, getting up in the mornings, doing what you have to do. You have to do what you have to do. And everything pays off at the end of the day, right? And especially if you choose something you love to do. Do not do something because it's going to pay you a lot of money. Do it because you love to do it, you know? And if you want to be, I don't know, a fashion designer, or you want to be an artist, whatever you want to be, go for it. Like, especially right now, look, I mean, the sky is the limit. You know what I'm saying? Everything is so, if you have a talent, I think talent is what's paying the most right now. And how many students do we have in Mets though that were artists, like drawing?
I know. There's so much untapped talent that once they get into college, they will be able to sort of grow and nurture.
Yeah.
I think it's like, but also talent only gets you so far. What talent gets you started, but then the rest is just sweat equity. It's like working out at the gym to get those muscles. You just got to put the hours in, and then the results will be worth it. But sometimes you just, you know, it's like lifting weights. I don't want to do it. I hate it. I don't want this, but it's
you love it.
That's like kind of how homework and classes are, right?
Yeah.
Like just
but
get
the
that
results,
degree.
so you start seeing the results, it's like, oh, okay, this is not bad. This is not that bad. So, like, just do things because you have to do them anyways.
Yeah.
And time is going to pass, and it's going to pass either you do something with your life or you do nothing with your life. Like, it's just life,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, like in high school, it wasn't such a challenge for me. It wasn't such a learning experience for me. I didn't have a Dr. Harbin in college, right?
Well,
I've
they've only had me for like a semester, and then Mets kids, I don't even know if they had me for a semester. Like
the Mets kids, I think they had you.
Well, they had me for a whole semester, but it was distance learning, so
yeah,
I don't even know. I failed at distance learning towards the end, you guys. Full confession. Anyway, so thinking about.
But I didn't have, right? At least they have, or someone that, like, it's young teachers. Now we have so many young teachers. Back in the days, they were so old.
Yeah, they're not necessarily better, but at least they're cooler.
Yeah. At least it's like, at least I can talk to you, you know? Back in the days, it's like, I can't talk to you and you can't teach me. Like, oh, right? This is butchering.
Yeah.
But my friends were super amazing. Like, my high school experience was super cool. I'm not even going to, like,
because of your friends.
Because of my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm like best friends with one of my high school friends still, and you know, it was a good experience. I did work a lot, you know, once I graduated.
So tell me about that. Tell me about, or tell us about what it was like, because you weren't really ready to go to college. You didn't really know what was going on. Your older brother was sort of the only one who knew what was up, and he had to figure out college for himself. So you decide to enroll in community college to figure shit out. And I think I know this because I did your resume. Didn't you become a substitute teacher at that time too?
Yeah.
So tell me about that balance and like some of the things that maybe you wish you had known.
I just in a way, I mean, what I would do different, right? Like, when I have children, I don't think I would have them working at such a young age, right? But unfortunately, this is the circumstances in our lives, and it's just, you know, and it's not because my mom was she was in education in my country. Like, she's a graduate woman, but it's not the same thing here from your country, right? Like, it's completely different, and then the language is as well very different. And she's working all the time. Both my stepdad and my mom are working all the time, so my brother is the one with me most of the time. And they did the best that they could.
Yeah.
You know, but at 16, I worked my first job, which is a lot of the cases I had in Mets, right? And a lot of others, like, teachers I know, right? Because when I was working with the teenagers that I was working with, they're 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. Either they're coming out of detention centers or...
backtrack. So you are now getting your master's degree in social work, and you have an internship where you're working with homeless youth and their families, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so now you're talking about the interview, right? I mean, the internship, not the interview.
No, this is a job I had, and I would bring a lot of times I would bring it up to the students in Mets, or like the students I had in Memorial in West New York, because how I had kids that came out of detention centers and or kids that were in foster houses, and they went to college. Like, they're going to college now, they're going to school. Yeah. So that's impossible, right? But no, I went to my first job when I was 16. My first job was at McDonald's, but it was like a bougie McDonald's. I met Little Kim and famous people there. And but I didn't last long. And then I moved into the movie theaters in Edgewater, also a little bougie. And then I graduated high school, and that's when I started working in education. So I worked with little ones first, and then I moved into be a substitute in high school and a middle school.
Yeah.
And that's how I loved kids, because then I was a permanent sub. And then I was tutoring after, and then I was working in that morning and aftercare program at the same time. And it was 3 jobs basically, right?
Yeah,
morning care, aftercare, subbing, and tutoring. So it was just a lot. But I was making pretty good money.
There you go. While going to school.
Well, I was a full-time student in college.
Wow.
So,
that's, I mean, that's goals. That's, I mean, I had 2 part-time jobs in college. I don't know if I could have swung a full-time job though. I think I might be too ADD for it. That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know how I got home. I just to sleep, like just to sleep or do homework.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was hard, but I was loving the money coming in and the experience. And plus I loved working with teenagers. So to me it was, and I had little ones too at the same time. And I enjoyed it. But then there was a time that I was young and I went to the gym at 5:30 in the morning.
I can't with you.
I was like super fit, and I tell people like, wow, I'm so amazed of how I did it. Like 5:30 in the morning gym, get changed there, go to the morning program, go to the high school or middle school, and then after, and then go to school, and then go to college. And it was like, it was a great experience. Like it makes, now I wouldn't do it anymore. I'm getting older, right? Like I'm super, I can barely wake up in the morning. Like I'm like, no way. But I was young, so I took advantage. So take advantage of your energy, take advantage of your youth. And I'm a little old now. I'm getting to that age, but I took advantage of it and I did it. I worked, I got my car, like I said. I had to pay bills, and it was done. It's not impossible, you know? Mm-mm. It's not possible. And that's how I discovered that I wanted to be a therapist.
Right. Because of all these side hustles that you're doing. You're like, hey, I really love kids. Like, I can't be a substitute for forever. Mm-hmm. What's a job that I can help keep people, hang out with teenagers? Because Joanna and I both weirdly love you guys. It's so funny. Yeah. You guys teenagers in general get a bad rap. But, yeah. So like, that's another example of how like sometimes you have these part-time jobs that you're just doing because like you got to make ends meet. And then it's like, oh, actually, I really love this one element of this job. What can I do? Like what's a job that'll let me do that more? And that's sort of how I fell into teaching and getting my PhD on a very nerdy level. I was like, oh, I really like doing this. I really like teaching these classes. What do I need to get in order to teach these classes? And unfortunately, it was a PhD, but it was something that like kept me going. Because it was like at the end of the 7 years of getting a PhD, I had it, and like now I can go wherever with it. But yeah, so you're working a part-time job, you fall in love with teenagers. When do you decide, and then for a while you're working full-time with no other jobs, right? I mean, you're working full-time after you graduate from college. When do you decide to go get your master's in social work?
Before I started working as a case manager. Mm-hmm. I decided I want to be a therapist. These kids love talking to me. And in order for me not to get in trouble, I need to get a license, and speak to them. So then, I'm like, all right, what can I do? To begin with, like I started to realize that the problem were not the kids, the problem were the parents. So I would go to the parent, like when I would tutor, and I'm like, the way you're speaking to your child is not the way you should be speaking to your child. So I'm like, okay, so maybe I should be a family therapist so that I can teach these parents how to be parents. Mm-hmm. And then once I enter my program, I got accepted. I'm in the program and I'm like, wait, I love working with teenagers. There's no way, right? So then we just do a clinical social work where I can work with anyone. Like I can work with little ones. I can work with teenagers. I can work with parents. I can work with anyone I want. And that's how I switched my programs from therapy, couples and family to clinical in general.
Yeah.
And then it even gets better when I became a case manager, where I was working with teenagers in detention centers, and I loved them. Mm-hmm. It was like nobody wanted to work with them, and I'm like, okay, give them to me. I got a connection. It's like, Miss Rubio, I draw, and let me show you my art, and let me rap for you. And to me, it was like, why are these people not listening to these kids? Like, they're such beautiful souls. And then I just fell in love with working with teenagers. And again, I had to go to the families and speak to the parents. And in speaking to the parents, it was like you need help. I think before working with therapy with the kids, I need to help you, like, understand that you don't scream and talk to your children like that. There's ways of getting through them but then you have to understand that it's a trauma that just follows, right? Like, they were treated this way, so they treat their kids this way. And then what I'm trying to do is cut the line of trauma, and so that our teenagers can be great parents, and then we can have great kids. So, but in the meantime, I also want to work with the ones that are already struggling with the traumas and help the parents, not portray what they went through.
Right. Not repeat their own traumas of the way they were treated in childhood.
So basically that's my goal. And just like, please, it's not so easy to go to high school. Stop yelling at your kid. Like, you want your home to be that comfort zone. And it's not for most of us, right? Like, for most of us, it's like yelling and fighting, and it's like, clean this, cook. And because like parents single moms can't have time. They don't have time to cook. So it's like, have the rice ready, have this ready. And it's like, well, when do I get time for myself? So there's a lot of things going on into like our community, and I want to be able to help with that, right? I mean, if I can have a whole building full of activities for people to come and learn, I mean, that would be amazing. But I mean, that's only if I get to have the blessing of being a millionaire one day.
Oh my gosh, right.
and you guys can come anytime. But that's why I decided to be a therapist, so that I can help teenagers. But with that being said, I cannot help teenagers if I don't teach these parents how to be good parents. So that is just breaking that. And then another thing is the stigma. If you guys have traumas and you need help, look for someone to help you. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with speaking to someone and asking for help. That's just a stigma, especially in our culture, Harbin. Like, in our culture, Latinos and Black, like, there's no way you can have issues. Like,
right. Yeah. It's very like, you have to be tough and resilient and like not show any weakness of emotion. Yeah, but that kind of blows up in your face eventually, right? When you're like, I can't deal with this right now, I'm just not going to think about it.
Yeah, well, eventually, and it's crazy that, as a therapist, we all have to get a therapist. So, and I think we all need therapists.
I have a therapist. She keeps me real. She's like, Allison, get yourself. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can look for me after I get my license soon. And yes, I would love to.
So you started out in your graduate program and then changed directions of what you wanted to study, even in your graduate program. I'm bringing this up because it's okay to change your mind at any point along this ride. Like, and that's fine. And you will have so many different things and experiences. You do not have to know exactly what you're going to major in, exactly what classes you're going to take. You don't have to know everything, because you don't know what you don't know. So as you get more life experiences, then you sort of start to hone in on, actually, like, I don't want to do family therapy in Johanna's case. I want to work more directly with adolescents. And that's sort of how you find like your passion and your calling, is just saying yes to things. But
for some of you, are like, my brother went into business, and that's where he did. Yeah. Like, he makes so much money. Like,
what does he do?
Good for him.
And where did he go to college?
He went to Montclair University.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He did business administration, so he administrates like hospitals in the city. Right now, he's administering the hospital in Jersey City, so he administers their money, like the whole accounting of the hospital.
Oh, that sounds hard.
But that's something he loves doing. Yeah. Again, do what you love to do. He loves doing it. And so there you have him. And he's making good money.
Yeah. And it's like a stable job, I imagine. Like,
yeah. He has work all the time, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what if you love it, you're going to do great.
It's true.
And because he thinks my career is crazy. He's like, you crazy.
Oh, wait. Before we go, you're at Keene University for your graduate program. I also have a lot of students applying to Keene. Can you say what the campus is like, what the school is like? I know it's a little bit different when you're in grad school, but just tell them about what Keene is like. Do you like it? Would you go there again?
Yeah, I would definitely go to Keene again. The administration program is completely different now, so it's so much better. The campus is beautiful. The programs are getting so much better into where not anyone can get in. So that's like a really good look.
Though. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would definitely recommend Keene. Whoever has seen it can testify that it's a beautiful campus. The dorms are beautiful if you guys want to dorm there.
There you go.
The teachers so far had a great experience with teachers. I mean, there's going to be one or two you're not probably going to like, but that's just life. And any school you go to.
Yeah.
But the education, I think, is amazing. The experience. Because I have a lot of people having the same program. And to me, it's like, you know this terminology, or you know this theory, or you know this clinical term. How come I don't know it? And they're like graduating too. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, you know, even the internship experience is just like, I just feel their program so far compared to Jersey City University, it's been amazing to me.
And so what was Jersey City University like, now that we're talking Jersey schools? It sounds like you don't necessarily recommend it.
I wasn't, it felt like there wasn't much different from the community college.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's very, I mean, I know it's changed a lot, so I don't know how is it now. My friend went after I did when she left Rutgers because she changed careers, and she said she liked it, and I just think it's a little easier than any other college, to be honest with you. So if you want an easy way out, go ahead, go to Jersey City University. That's the way to go.
Yeah. There, I mean, hey, this is real life facts, man. It's good to know. Bachelor's degree is a bachelor's degree, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, no matter where you graduate, you're going to get a job. Like, they don't look, unless you really graduate in Harvard, then they don't really care. Like Jersey City, King University, Montclair, Rutgers, they don't really care. That's the big difference. Is Yale University, Harvard University. Then okay, then wow, you went to. But other than that, get a degree. Don't stress where you're going. It doesn't really matter unless. And for those who want to move to another state and experience that, go for it. I recommend it.
So you recommend going away for college and having the 4-year dorm life experience? I
do. I regret not doing it. And it's because I believe life is all about connections, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And you just connect with so many people, you know, by going to another college. And I had friends that, you know, went to Florida, LA, and although I do have a lot of connections, but that's because I've met wonderful people throughout my life. Yeah. But I'm sure I would have met so many other people by going to another school in another state.
Yeah, or just going away for school and boarding, that at times can make, it's a whole different world to board like in New Brunswick versus commuting in and living with your parents. I mean,
exactly. And that's another little escape route, right? If you're having issues at home, not issues that are created that are not that serious. But if you feel like issues are serious and you want to get away and you can't anymore, dorming in another state is one of the ways out. Get away, breathe, you know. It's going to be a new experience into becoming independent, but you have your own space and you start you're forced to be independent. So now you are your own guardian. Although you still have to report to your parents, you are your own guardian in another state or dorming. So
I highly recommend it for those of you with parents who are intense. I loved going away to school. It was really hard the first semester because I didn't know anybody and everybody else seemed to know each other, and like I didn't know what I was doing, and I cried a lot and I wanted to transfer. But once I made it past my first semester, I was like, this is awesome. So, you know, it's all about like, I also had some like stuff going on my freshman year of college, like personal stuff. So, you know, I had a lot of factors going in, but I'm glad that I didn't transfer. I'm glad that I didn't like drop out and just go home and have to start all over with the college application process. Sometimes you just have to stick out a bad semester. And in college, remember, it's not for the whole year. It's just one semester you have to endure, and then you get all new classes, which is kind of nice. I don't know.
Yeah, which is amazing. That's one of the great things of college, you know?
Truly. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to be a whole year stuck into the same room. If you don't like a teacher, switch it. If you don't like a professor, switch it the next semester. Then that's one of the great things. But but then I wish I had someone like me or like you to be like, hey, why don't you experience another state? That would be an amazing experience for you.
Yeah.
No, you know? Or why don't you dorm most of the majority of time of your, no, instead I was working 3 jobs. And which is great, you know, it's perfect. But I feel like that experience of dorming, it's something that I recommend to to a lot of guys.
Yeah, that's, you know, and like those of you, and since we're early in the college application process, you know, that's something to think about. Apply to some not boarding schools, some schools where you'll have to dorm and live on campus, and then some schools where you can commute from home. And in May, when you're looking at graduation, you get those like college acceptances rolling in. You see what financial package you get. You kind of get to decide. Right. You'll know more about who you are and what you want out of life in May than you do now, weirdly. Right?
Yep, completely. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
So let's see. Let's wind down this interview. Do you have any other, like, I don't know, parting words, things you wish you had known, words of wisdom, things you wish you had done but were too, like, just couldn't do, anything like that? And this is anything. And then we'll bring up our guest speaker, my brother's dog, in a minute.
Oh, okay, he's so cute. To be honest with you, I have to say, in my personal experience, don't worry about relationships.
I know that's hard to hear, but it's true.
It's just you guys are so young, and unless you're planning to like have kids at a young age, go for it. But honestly, like just focus in what you want to do in life, right? Another thing is, like, nothing is impossible, literally. If you want to be the owner of like 3 buildings or 4 buildings in your community, eventually nothing is impossible. Like, I have so many experience, like so many people around me where they went from nothing to owning like so many houses in Philly, right? So it's crazy. So I think nothing is impossible.
True.
Put effort into what you want to do. Focus, right? There's going to be a lot of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people, bad influences in college, right?
Yeah, it's real easy to get a little too caught up in that party scene.
Yeah, focus, and then be careful. Take care of yourselves, right? And just like, again, I cannot emphasize so much that if you guys need help in any way, you know, emotionally, physically, mentally, any type of help, look for it. I mean, you can always reach out to me. You know, ask Dr. Harbin for help if you need connections. You know, like she can give you my emails. I have the time of the life right now because I'm about to go on a little vacation from my semester. So if you guys need anyone to speak to, need help, need linkage to anything, you guys are more welcome to reaching out to me. Ask Dr. Harbin for my email and she can give it to you guys. And I'm more willing to help you. I'm here in Jersey, but I have friends thankfully all over the world, even in Canada. So if you guys need help and you guys want to go to college in Canada, if you guys want to go to college, I don't know, in Spain as well, like, we can help you, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that sort of holds true, not just for us, but in life in general. I didn't realize this when I was y'all's age, but it's really like who you know and who can give you a hand up or throw you like, hey, this is how it really works, or hey, my company has an internship spot. So never never like turn down an opportunity. Like, yeah. George, he's getting grumpy. Such a weird dog. Yeah, don't be like George. George, what are you being grumpy about?
George,
George, are you mad because you didn't go to college?
He's just like, I'm not
George
about
is
this.
not
Life.
that smart.
This
He wouldn't. I honestly, I don't even think he could graduate from 5th grade. You know, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Bless his heart. But you know, he's got sometimes a charming personality. Now he's being grumpy. George,
I think you're hungry, George.
what is your life? He might be. But anyway, thank you so much, Johanna, and hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Yeah, I put googly eyes on his butt. I did. He knows what he did. He knows what he did to deserve that.
I can't. You put googly eyes on his butt because he did something?
Yes, he's being bad.
Because he pooped?
No, he was just being a little brat. You know
so
what
you
he did.
I can't with you. I can't. Please feel free to reach out if you guys need to reach out. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I have to say you have a great advisor. I don't know, like she what you're doing is advising, what you're doing is nobody knows. But you know, that's just our life, right? We just do whatever we need to do in life. Yeah. We are teaching, we're counselors, we're nurses, we're parents. That's just life, and I love it. So yeah, you guys, I wish you guys the best. These are seniors. Enjoy. They don't get to have prom.
I know.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Prom, not back in the days, I think 1984 was just meant to socialize.
Yeah.
It was not meant to party.
Yeah. Yeah. Prom's overrated. It's very expensive. Save your money and, buy a car or something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Buy a car.
Save towards a car, obviously. It won't. But yeah.
Save towards a car. If they do what I did, they'll be able to buy their car second semester, third semester, and they road trip in your little vacations.
She gets it, kids. All right. Without further ado, goodbye.